And we're live. Action! Hi friends, sorry I'm late. We are the producer, the director, the writer, the casting agent, and the star of our own movie called Life, This Incarnation. And I'm excited to chat with you today on a live stream, this time in front of the fireplace, cozier than outside in the snow. Sorry I'm late. I had said 11:30-ish Central Standard Time today. I had a Zoom meeting, a really great Zoom meeting. Really exciting things happening right now, right before this. So apologies, I went running from the Zoom to here. Cheers, drinking some tea. Cozy inside, fireside with you today. Happy Friday from a very cold Wisconsin. I have done a few live streams outside in the snow, not today. And I prefaced this live stream, this could be its own film series. It's so potent and so powerful. So today is gonna be like an appetizer, and we can do more live streams and videos on this theme. And I sense that as the collective is waking up, this is gonna be a much hotter topic. So without much ado, let's jump in. Yesterday I prefaced this as why it's so hard to be a human. And especially for those, I would say, that are in that, I would call it, we're up leveling. We're going through this big shift, crossing the threshold in our own evolution and consciousness. There is a lot of energy out there, a lot of energy coming at you. And I, for one, know what that feels like myself. And so if you're in that experience, you're up leveling, and you've asked the universe, God, source, creator, you're like, give it to me. I'm here for the big enchilada, for self-mastery. The universe is going to say, all right, let's find out if you're ready. And my business partners are martial artists. They have black belts, and one of them's a master martial artist from Japan. And they equate us working together as like going into the dojo. And I think it's a really ironically perfect application of like getting a belt system going up, right? From white belt to black belt and black belt with stripes, to our business model, as well as we're earning different belt levels, if you will, in the dojo. And how the dojo is life. It's not just business or martial arts. It's the dojo of self-improvement. I mean, every day you're in the dojo. It's not just occasionally, it's all the time. It's constant working on oneself. If one's not progressing, then they're, I say, decaying, right? Growth or decay, you can't have both at the same time. And I love that. I love that approach as far as the dojo. There's so many different metaphors and analogies there. And increasing our belt level. And they asked me, so Amie, are you in for the black belt? I'm like, absolutely. And I have been taking my hits in the dojo of life and business. And I know I'm going to be, every day, I'm going to get thrown, I'm going to get my kicks, I'm going to get some hits. And it's just not asking my sensei or my master or leader, whomever, to go easier on me, to not make it so hard. It's, I need to improve. Okay, when you think about it that way. Don't ask the universe to make things easier, just get better yourself. And I love that analogy. It's so applicable to life, to business, to self-mastery. When you really stop and think about it, like, the goal here is self-mastery. What is the treasure? What is the prize at the end of the rainbow? It's not some pile of money or a hot spouse and nice cars and houses and properties, although there's nothing inherently wrong with those. It's just that when you realize that the true treasure is getting to that next level of self-mastery, the next belt color, right? I want to go as far as I can, because why not? What else is there to do with infinity, right? I'm not going to be sitting on some cloud in a robe playing a harp for eternity. Man, when I was 5 years old and I was told that's what I was going to be doing with my infinite nature, my infinity, I was like, I called BS on that pretty fast. I do not resonate with that level or that concept of how I'm going to spend in infinity, eternity. We're here to expand. You know, here we are, and the line was out the door to incarnate on Earth now, because this is, oh man, what a great time to be physically focused, right? When you think about it, what a great time. The line was out the door. There was a queue for souls on the, you know, on the other side, on the unseen realm, to incarnate to this specific planet right now into physically focused vessels. And before we do, we come up with a life plan with a theme for that life. And it has to be meaty enough, potent, important, powerful enough to get chosen. So when you think about it that way, you're like, there are, let's just say, 8 billion other souls here on the planet that got chosen or approved to incarnate here now and play this amazing game, this hero's journey. And they're all of our players who we cast in our movie called Life, and we casted them. So we got approved. You know, isn't that cool when you think about it? You're like, all these amazing, beautiful souls that I get to play with. They were all putting in their application, lying out the door around the block, so to speak, right? And they all got to come here, incarnate into a physically focused vessel for this adventure of expansion and evolution and remembering who we truly are. Hey, Cassie, how are you? So Cassie, thanks for joining. Before Cassie incarnated, just like myself, like all of us here, all of us amazing co-stars, so she had a theme and life plan that she put together with her guides, say her angels, her guides. And maybe in her theme, she was going to work on self-love. And I think most souls do. I think that is probably the most powerful and prevalent theme or sub-theme that every soul comes here is self-love. Okay? And maybe she wants to work on forgiveness. So she's going to need to have some people to forgive, right? So she's now casting co-stars or cameos or bit roles, you know, deep background. Who's going to come play in my movie called Life? Because she is the director, producer, writer, casting agent, and star. And so she casts some people. Hey, so I'm going to work on forgiveness in this lifetime. And that means I'm going to need to have someone to forgive. You know, and we're all in unconditional love, yet we get to play this game of expansion here with contrast, right? When you start thinking it from this place, you're like, wow, we're making all this up. Everything serves us to greater know who we truly are, right? And expansion. So she picks some people, some other souls who say, yeah, hey, Cassie, I love you, you beautiful, bright light. I will play this role as a so-called enemy or someone who does specific contrasts or bad things to you in your lifetime. I will play that role for you so then you can have something to forgive. And this is part of your journey of your overarching theme of self-love. Wow, right? When you get it, there are no enemies. We've got to have some other players, co-stars, cameos, whomever, in our journey, in our hero's journey, our movie, to give us contrast so we can experience expansion and, as an example, forgiveness. Isn't that awesome, Cassie? When we frame it that way, you're like, wow. And maybe we are also playing roles for others in this journey where they needed someone to help them with maybe jealousy, or maybe it's to be inspired. That person happened to post something on social media, or smile at a stranger walking through the door, or just give a hug when someone absolutely needed one at that right time. They needed that type of inspiration. So we're all playing roles for each other. So thank you and bravo. If you're in, I casted you in my movie called Life, this incarnation. Bravo, you are doing a really great job. And thank you so much. Everyone take a bow. Thank you for casting me in yours. So Cassie, so she and I, here we are in the unseen realm on the other side before we physically incarnate, and this time as a species called Homo sapiens sapien on a planet called Earth. Not all the time are we even physically focused. And there's plenty of other planets and species to inhabit, and that's what we are, inhabiting the vessel, piloting the vessel. So here Cassie and I are probably in the same soul group of one way or another, evolving on a very similar trajectory and pace, which is what it felt like when I first met her just over a year ago. It was like this recognition, like, oh, there you are, soul sister. And that's what we call each other. We call each other sister, sis. So isn't that interesting? So we decided, okay, so I will be in my late 40s, you will be in your mid 50s-ish, and that is when we will find each other on planet Earth in this particular incarnation. We'll both be in the United States, and not only will we become friends, lifelong friends, we will work together in business and help inspire others globally and create one of the most biggest mission of empowerment and freedom that anyone has ever seen, and empower millions globally. The echoes of what we're doing right now with our mission, it's like dropping a pebble in a pond, and that pond is this infinite sea of ripples that we'll never even get to know generationally of what we're doing, and that we'll just know, and we'll find each other, and we'll have the biggest hoot of all times doing this together, and probably have more fun traveling the world and going on adventures as well. And so that's what Cassie and I set up for each other. And so far we have fulfilled our pre-life agreement and how we've cast each other in these roles to come together on planet Earth for this particular adventure. Cassie says, yes, that is exactly how it is. All the lessons, karmic lessons, and wrapping up past life karma is love, all my participants. Yeah, and that's it. It's like, so and this is the funny part really, when you think about it, you're like, so I created all of this and it all serves me. These are all the beautiful souls that I've casted in different roles and purpose, for me to remember who I truly am, to expand even more rapidly and powerfully, so that I can be of service to other souls as well. And why would you hate? How could you hate your own co-stars and cameos? You're the one that casted them. Start thinking of it that way. We make up enemies, contrasts, all of that. There's nothing that exists outside of unconditional love. However, in our expansiveness and our power, we can create lack, scarcity, hate, right? Isn't that interesting when you start thinking about it that way? You're like, it makes you realize truly, and not just realize it intellectually, but embody this, that there's nothing but love. That's it. On this game of expansion and remembrance, there's nothing but love. And I dig that. And the more that you let that get into you, you realize, like, this is another thing I noticed when I incarnated, I had a massive activation at age 5. I have heightened memory of this as well. And I noticed right away, and I was born into, and something else I created, into a very religious family. So religious, it was my great-grandmother times 5 who founded the entire church, Seventh-day Adventism. And I needed that to jolt me out of my amnesia, because we all come in, most of us come in with amnesia. We don't remember. We come into darkness in a very dense, slow, dark, heavy, full of contrast, duality planet, right? Into these biological meat suits that we're simply piloting through this incarnation. These bodies are not who we are. And then we have no memory of who we are. We don't know where our team is. We're just, we don't know what our powers are, superpowers. It's just we come in with like the most amount of advanced challenge level. And some of us ante up and give ourselves really intense challenges to transmute and alchemize from the beginning. And it is just this week that I have had the most amazing revelatory understanding, deepening integration of how much advanced level contrast I set out for myself from childhood. Wow. And when you get it, you start realizing, and you have so much more compassion for other souls too, who've upped the ante and set themselves up with high levels, high trajectories of contrast, right? To overcome, to alchemize, to transmute, and to remember, whoa, man, did I set myself up. And I'm so like, in a self-loving way, just so proud of myself for what I have transmuted and alchemized in now going on 49 illusory linear years. Inhabiting the biological meat suit of a Homo sapien sapien. Wow. At age 5, I looked at religion and the rules and, what the Bible said and this, that, and I was like, I'm calling BS on this. I was 5 years old. I also didn't resonate at all with the formula thrown down the gauntlet of what my life was supposed to be. Of do this, follow the rules, stand in line, don't get out of line, don't color out of lines, do what you're told, be a good, citizen, go to school, get a high-paying job, get the family, pop out the babies, white picket fence, 2.5 kids and dog and house and cars, and then maybe retire by 65 or 70. Then you get to have some fun maybe. And if you're lucky, you make it to 90 and then lights out, right? I was looking at that at age 5 saying, nope, that is not my existence. And I don't sense that is for any other soul, just to follow along blindly because no one else has thought for themselves critically or woken up. It's like the blind leading the blind until some soul wakes up and helps shake some souls out of their stupor. The Matrix. Like Neo in his pod, scratching and clawing to get out of that pod and finally breathe that first breath of freedom, of real air, right? To see for the first time. That's what souls are. They're scratching their ways out. Some souls are helping those sleepwalking souls wake up out of the pods as well. Breathe their first air of freedom. And you want to know one more thing that I noticed when I was 5? Super observant. It was like a huge, how do I say this? Record scratch for me at age 5 when I came into this planet and I recognized that they still had something called racism. Like 7 millimeter of dermal covering is what we have on these biological meat suits, right? 7 millimeters of dermal covering, and mine happens to be kind of peachy, right? We choose our country and our race in our life plan before we incarnate. That people were, judging and had biases and even hatred to other gorgeous, beautiful souls who just happened to pick a different physically focused meat suit vessel with a different dermal covering of a different color. Like, I couldn't believe it at age 5. Same with sexism, both of them. I just couldn't. But racism just blew my mind. Hey, Furman, how are you? Welcome. When I was 5 years old, I was shocked. I'm like, oh no, this species right now is still stuck on racism at this timeline. Wow, they got a long way to go. This is roll up the sleeves, right? If they're still stuck on prejudging and valuing their fellow players, their cast, right? They casted in their own movie called Life based on 7 millimeters of dermal covering, right? It's just, when you think about that, you're like, this is ridiculous. The spice of life is to have different meat suits in whatever species we inhabit during an incarnation, not just Earth. Imagine everything that we've been, all the different species we've been. And it's not just male, female. I know some people are like, well, I've never been a man in a past life. Yes, you have. You've been it all, up and down, male, female, other genders that we can't even conceive of right now, other species. We've wanted to be the king, queen, jester, knight, fool, prostitute. We have been it all, and we wanted to experience and expand. And I know that ruffles feathers when people hear that, because they bought the formula. Like at age 5, I'm telling people, like, no, I don't resonate with this formula, and I don't resonate with religion. Not in its traditional sense. I remember when I was 5 years old or 5 or 6 telling my parents, like, God is unconditional love. And that's what I know, is that we are here to embody unconditional love. Not all these rules and regulations and judgments and biases, and you're not perfect enough, you came in with sin, and I certainly called BS on, also at the same age, 5, when I was told that my eternity was going to be spent sitting on a cloud playing a harp in a white robe. I'm like, nope. Hey, Furman. Sorry, guys, I'm not keeping up. Cassie, darn it, have to jump off. I'll finish in a bit. Good stuff, sis. Hey, thanks for joining, Cassie. Furman says, what a wild ride. Excellent choice for finding personal power. Yeah. Oh, we are so powerful, Furman. And I have dedicated this existence, this incarnation, now that I am at a very potent stage of awakening in my journey to self-mastery, is to help remind others, as many as possible, through my public examples. This is another reason I do so many videos and live streams, but also to help remind everyone else of their power, of who they are. That's heaven on earth. Heaven on earth isn't some place up in the sky that we sit there with our harps and our robes hanging out on clouds, or I don't know, riding zebras all day. It's something my dad said. I was like, we're here to expand, right? Heaven on earth is unconditional love. It's your own self-realization. And we have it, we live it, we have that frequency of absolute bliss and unconditional love by being it. So we, walking around in these meat suits, are heaven on earth ourselves. We were born to learn through contrast, the power of choice. Yes, Furman, you know what's funny? I wouldn't even say learn. It's remember, re-remembering. And people say, why do you say re-remember? It's because we've been in so many incarnations that it's always a remembrance or a coming back to what we are now remembering through all the contrast, through all the darkness, which serves us, it all serves us, the slow, dense energy of this particular planet and frequency. And it's all perfect. And we'll never get it all done because guess what? We never cease to exist. And we go on and on and on. I'm on my bouncy ball right now, enjoying the fire. We'll never cease to exist. I was contemplating that, my infinite nature at age 5, 6, 7. And wow, what an adventure. This is not a boring incarnation at all. If you look at the roles we cast, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, which I'm cool with. I accepted that part of my own journey in my life plan. I'm like a walking mirror to people and a catalyst at the same time. And strong enough, because I know who I am, to be able to handle a role like that. Because many souls are not ready. They're too asleep and indoctrinated and programmed, innocently so. They're not tapped into their higher self, not listening. God, source, creator, they've like, you can't really abnegate that, but they have blocked it, right? They blocked that connection where all the answers are there in flow state versus the ego mind identity. And this is what I want to leave you with. Yesterday I was talking about it's so hard being a human. Well, twofold. When you realize like the advanced level of challenge we set up for ourselves by incarnating here, physically focused, you're like, man, and then you keep going up in your belt level, right? Martial arts, life is a dojo. What I start with, analogy at the beginning of this, I'm going all the way. And why not go all the way? So it's not for the formula. It's not to just get that pile of money, which is so many people, they think that's what it is, or some perfect body or spouse or a bunch of toys and properties. You know, the treasure, the purpose is self-mastery. And when you get that, life just spirals upwards because it has true meaning, true purpose. I'm a very mission-oriented soul. Like, what was the mission? I get here, whoever wakes up first through all the advanced trauma that we set up for ourselves, amnesia, low vibration, like some advanced ass shit, man. Some of us really gave ourselves a lot of contrast. And for the purpose of expansion, right? Something that we haven't experienced before, and to know ourselves better as a divine fractal of God, and to rapidly accelerate our own personal evolution, right? So why is it hard being human? Well, once you do remember who you are, you're like, wow. And all you can do is have compassion and so much love for every other co-star that you casted, or cameo, or deep background, all the other players in your film, 8 billion of them here on planet Earth. All you can do is have compassion because you recognize they just haven't remembered yet. But you have. Hold on one second. I locked my cat out. Bootsy. Sorry, Bootsy. And then another thing, okay, I'm going to end with this. I can tell you why it's so hard to be a human too, if you haven't remembered who you truly are. If one, this is a topic I've covered before, if one is addicted to the human character and the human character's agenda. Hi, kitty. Come here. Come here, Bootsies. We might have a cameo. Oh yeah, that also goes with the animals that we cast. We cast our pets, any other animal experiences. I know some people are like, but why would I have that dog attack? Which I have been attacked by a dog. I created that. That was an agreement that I had with that dog for for me to experience some contrast, how do I expand from that? Forgiveness, letting go, releasing, becoming more fearless. Like everything serves us. So yes, we cast our animals, we cast everyone else, including who we call enemies or haters, right? Think about all the characters in our movie called Life right now that are in the roles creating contrast, right? Say politics, called the dark agenda, right? And those like misleading humanity, trying to keep humanity repressed and not remembering who they truly are. These beautiful, powerful souls that we are. Like we needed that contrast as part of the energy that we're playing in as we're creating and remembering and awakening. Like if we came down to planet Earth and everything was all perfection, like it is back on the other side, right? It was just all perfect and there was no contrast, no density, no chance to really go through the hero's journey. Like how are we really going to expand from that? We need it to be like gritty and messy and chaotic and contrast rich. And we wanted to experience ourselves different ways and to expand into an even greater self-mastered version of self. So if one is addicted to the human character and the formula and they think they're in their matrix pod, they're still sleeping like Neo, and they think that that is all life is about, that formula, then they're buying the matrix hook, line, and sinker, right? And so many souls will go through their whole lifetime after incarnation, whether it's on Earth or a different planet, not remembering who they are or why they came. Now, this couldn't be a better time because there's so many awakened souls. There's so many souls that have recognized their mission and their purpose, who they truly are, or are in that trajectory to play with right now and to create and generate on such a high level, creating and embodying heaven on earth, because we are heaven on earth. Christ consciousness is us. And so it's an honor. Like I said, the line was out the door, the queue around the corner of the block for people, for souls to incarnate here and now on planet Earth. There couldn't be a better time. And you had to have a really good life plan to be chosen. So God bless all these beautiful souls that you're here with on this journey playing with, right? There's nothing but love. And you can come from that lens. Ooh, this is so good. This is why themes like this, meaningful themes, which are about the truth of existence, the truth of who we are, right? Are so powerful, and they need their own video series, film series, so many different creative ways to get it out there. And that is also part of my purpose here in this particular incarnation. It's partly why I'm a storyteller. It was just so innate for me, which means that I have done a lot of storytelling in prior lives, because it's like breathing for me. And I would love to hear your feedback on themes like this. If you haven't watched this whole live stream, go back and watch from the beginning. One nugget, one gem here can change your life, can spark that pod right open in the matrix, and someone now is clawing their way out and breathing their first air of freedom. And I can see I was asleep and now I'm awake. Come here with these. So more to come on this. As you can tell, like I don't have any notes or outline or anything. It's just me in flow state with you, from my heart to yours, whenever I hop on a live stream. And there's going to be a lot more of themes like this coming, because this is what's meaningful. Okay, this is humanity remembering who they truly are. This is heaven on earth. And doing it in such a mass scale. How exciting is that? So please like this, share this live stream. It's going to be up on YouTube shortly. So I know live streams on Facebook are deleted in 30 days. I immortalize them on my YouTube channel, which I'll drop in here as well for you to check out. Would love to have you subscribed there. Lots of good stuff coming on YouTube too. And more updates. I think I will be doing a live stream tomorrow too. Tomorrow or Sunday this weekend. So stay tuned for that. Share this live stream. Would love to hear your feedback if you're watching on the replay. And thank you. Thank you for joining. Mwah, much love, and I will see you on the next video.